Be humble in your work. You can never be too pleasant. A lot of times, a lot of people lose work is because of their attitude is wrong. You have to have the attitude of willing to work and wanting to work and not be a problem in the work environment, because it's all chaotic. It's never going to be right. It's never going to be perfect. And you don't need to strive to be perfect, but you know the one thing you can control is your own pleasant disposition to work and be humble.
Welcome back to The Fade. I am your host, Brandon Morgan, and I am sitting here with Mr. Everything himself, Mr. Jabari Collins. What's
How you
up,
doing?
man?
How
What's
you
up?
doing?
What's
It's a
up?
pleasure to be here.
Man, I'm glad to have you here, bro. I'm glad to have you here. It's been a long time coming.
It has.
You know, for the world out there and the Fade to Black world out there, just, you know, there's your camera over
My
there.
camera,
you
got
can
you.
look into your camera and just give the people some insight of who you are, what you do, all the things that you may do, Mr. Everything.
All
just
right,
let them know. Let the people know.
My name is Jabari Collins. I am the board president of Shabach Enterprise, and we are the mother company of Fade to Black. Also, in my role as a member of Fade to Black, I have served as the production manager, stage manager, light technician, sound technician, audio technician, stage hand, and maintenance man for every event for Fade to Black. But apart from that, I am the director of education for my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, Sigma Theta Sigma Alumni Chapter. I am also a senior technician for the Generation Aviation Company. Some of my roles include technician, stage hand, lights hand, stage manager, cryo technician, pyro technician, and I've worked in over 100 different venues in the city of Houston and in local areas in the area. I am also the senior camera operator at my church, Willow Avenue Baptist Church. I have been a camera operator for my church for the past 5 years. I am also an assistant scoutmaster for my son's Boy Scout troop, Willow Avenue Baptist Church Troop 242. I've been a assistant scoutmaster for the past 10 years. And on top of that, I am also just a school teacher here at Carver High School with the Panther players for the last 15 years. And apart from that, I do my own personal hustles on the outside as a senior designer for multiple theater companies in the Houston area. I recently served as the program director for the 2023 season of YP at the Ensemble Theater as the program manager. I've served as a senior designer for Theater Under the Stars, and I've worked as a technician at Stages, the Alley Theater, and I have literally been everywhere.
Hence the word Mr. Everything. Jabari, bro, your list is impeccable, man. Like you are literally the Mr. Everything and the glue of the things. Like, you know, you always have those people who like work in the back that you don't talk about much, but like this is on a different level with you. Like if you are not in the back, I'm not sure that the ship is moving.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you are not back
happen.
there, I'm not sure that we are even
I am going to
forward
make
motion,
it, no
like,
matter
at
what
all.
the situation is. But that comes from my background training as a student at Prairie View A&M University, studying under the tutelage of the legendary director C. Lee Turner, Clarence Turner. May he rest in peace. You have to do everything. He used to have a saying about the every ready players. And the every ready players always was ready to get the job done anytime, any place, anywhere. And that motto, that creed stuck with me for the rest of my life.
I must say, man, there was a tradition that happened at Prairie View called Practicum that we all know and love. And my first show at Prairie View, like I just remember being put on PR right? They were like, you do PR. And I'm like, why am I doing PR, y'all? Like, I only came here, like, to be a theater major, like, to act and stuff. And I had to do PR. I remember they stuck me up there with Lakeithia doing costumes one time. And in my mind, I'm like, why am I doing all of these things that I'm not here to do these things for? And you don't know what is worth while you're there and doing it, but I can tell you that it definitely changes things. Like, you are so better prepared for this business coming out of there than you are just, being a one-trick pony.
You have to. You gotta make ends meet. And the more you know, the more you grow, the more you do, the more you get.
Amen. Well, let's just jump right on into it. Since we have established all of the many things that you are, let's get a little more deeper and in depth of all of those things. So, just give me like the background of Jabari, right? Like from the inception or however far back you want to go to fast forward to where we are now.
So I am a proud 2-time graduate of Prairie View A&M University. I graduated in 2003. With my BA in theater arts, and after leaving that, I worked at the Express Children Theater for a couple of years. Everybody loved Express, and I also was like every part in that role as well. And then I had one of my best and favorite jobs ever. I was a concession manager at the Toyota Center for about 4 years, and that was the highlight of my life. I loved that. It was a lot of fun. And then I joined the United States Army. I am a E4, that's a specialist, power generator repair specialist, 52 Delta. I served in Iraq from 2008 to 2009. I made it out. And upon leaving Iraq, I embarked upon working the most difficult job of my life. And that was a middle school theater arts teacher. I pray for every middle school theater arts teacher. Man, I pray for anybody working in middle school. Middle school is tough. Middle school is tough. I worked as a middle school teacher for 2 years, and then Rashonda Jones-Kumba brought me here to Carver High School, and I've been here ever since 2011. And the rest is history. Upon that, I joined Fade to Black in 2013. I was brought in as an actor by Denise, and from that, I served as an actor. Then I was an understudy. Then I became stage manager. Then I became production manager. Then I became one of the founding board members for the organization. Then I became the board secretary. And then last year, I was selected as the board president for Shabach Enterprise and Fade to Black. And so I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of Fade to Black. I'm proud of what we've been able to grow, accomplish over these past few years as we embark upon changing the landscape of theater in Houston and uplifting the opportunities and the options for African American artists, primarily not only here in Houston but universally as well.
Amen to that, bro. I have nothing but claps for that. Nothing but claps for that.
So claps and checks.
Claps and checks. Hey, you heard it here first. Claps and checks. That's all we need, right? That's all we need. So, Jabari, just give me a little insight of what it's like in your lane as an educator and being an educator at like I like to call it, a wonderful theater machine as such as Carver is.
Well, it's an honor. It's a blessing. It's always a blessing to be able to work with young people. It's always it's a gift from God to ever have any minuscule degree of success, because no matter what success you have or have ever achieved, it's not from your own personal work alone. Your work has always been blessed with the heavenly hand, and so anything and everything should always be given out to the greater source for providing us with this opportunity for advancement. And Shabach is actually a biblical word. A lot of people don't know that, but Shabach is a biblical word, and I feel like that biblical connection has been ingrained in our soul and has given us the energy to be able to provide a blessing. And so, in working in education and working with teenagers, you have to be very mindful of the fact that you are planting seeds of opportunity, hope, comfort, love. You are giving them the foundations with which they can go about this world and become somebody in this impoverished and this community where oftentimes they do not know. And so we are that beacon of light
out there, right?
Yeah, they don't know. And so we have been able to give them a bigger view of the world that the environment that they grew up in didn't give them. And so that is the greatest blessing of all. Now, the awards and accolades, hell,
and y'all, you got them.
The awards make it better. they are truly a blessing,
right? Yeah.
But it's the opportunities. Like the other day, a young lady graduated, and she was the valedictorian of her class. She is born and raised here in Acres Homes. She's 3 or 4 generations deep here in Acres Homes. Her grandmother was a principal. Her mom is a school teacher, but she's still here at Acres Homes, and she became the valedictorian. And she ended up being she's the valedictorian, but she got accepted into Johns Hopkins University. She got accepted in Johns Hopkins University, have 11% acceptance rate.
Man, we know.
And a lot of people have told her name is Ryan Randolph, and I consider Ryan as my daughter. And so a lot of people told her, okay, so there's no big deal in going to Johns Hopkins. You can go to a school right here in the state. But how often in your life would you be able to say that you attended one of the most prestigious and historic universities in the world?
In the world.
And that
people overseas know exactly what that is.
That doesn't come often.
Yeah.
And so when she came back home from the holiday break, she came and gave myself and Miss Jones a gift. She like, open up the gift right now. So I opened up the gift, and she was like, it was a T-shirt from Johns Hopkins that said Johns Hopkins University Dad.
I saw that. I think I know exactly. I did see that
Johns
picture, and she gave Rashawn the Johns Hopkins mom. Yeah, it was a beautiful picture, bro.
That young lady. Mm-hmm. And all of my students have always been like a source of so much pride. Like it just feed my soul, and that I'm able to be here.
You are advancing lives, and they come back to give you the grace of helping them advance. Like I know that's so fulfilling.
Sometimes you get stuck. They won't let you go, no matter what you want to do. Where you at? Where you going? They like, hey, yo, I'm going to call you. You need to come see me on this day. I have a Marine. He's serving in North Carolina. And he called me because when the situation happened in Israel, he's with an infantry unit. And the Marines, they deployed before the Army. And the Marines, because he was an infantry unit, he received papers that he was about to be deployed. And he called me, and he was like, you think you can come fly out to North Carolina before I be deployed? And his mom called me. She was like, what can we do to go see him before he deploy? And luckily he didn't have to go to deployment. But it's those type of situations where I am the father for 1,000 more kids than the one son that I have.
Yeah.
And every single day I gain another kid, and I can't afford them. They don't pay me enough.
They show not cheap. Whether they yours or not, they just not cheap at all.
I can't afford them.
Not cheap. They not. So I'm glad you said that, because it brings me to like my next insightful question. So, what is the balance like of knowing that you are like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like you are the beacon for so many children. Like, you know what I mean? Like so many children or adults, or used to be children, now they're adults, like to be their beacon as a person. And you know, coming from this community, you don't have that a lot, you know, like just simply straight out. Like even at school, when I was in school, there were a couple, but it wasn't, you know, people that were just people like that, except for the one illustrious Freddie Buckner. I can say that he was a real beacon in the world. But how do you balance that? Like how do you carry that daily? Like I'm sure it can be heavy sometimes. Yeah.
The burden of responsibility is heavy. That's on everybody. Like doing the right thing is hard. It's so easy to do the wrong. The road to hell is straight and fast. Yeah, I think that's what the
stairway to heaven.
It's a stairway to heaven, curves. It's a spiral stairway to heaven.
Yeah.
That's a lot of steps, bro. But it's a super soaker slide to the bottom. So the burden of righteousness, you be like, yo, how did I end up on? It's hot.
Yeah.
But the burden is heavy, but it's such an honor. It's a heavy honor. It's hard to stay grounded. It's hard to be humbled. It's hard to not become. And I can only imagine what like super celebrities may feel. I don't have the degree of understanding of that, but I really believe that the most important factor that you always gotta take in consideration is one, staying true to yourself. You can get lost in this sauce so fast, you know, and you will lose your flavor once they try to blend you in with other people's flavor. Any day I feel downtrodden, I get a phone call from some kid. I'm never bored at my job. There's a kid happy to see me every single day. Like if I go to work and I'm having a bad day, somebody's gonna be back there talking about, you had something to eat, do you want me to go get you something? And that is not something you receive everywhere you go. Now the rest of the school environment got its own degree of problems, but when you working with the young people and they just feed you love unconditionally, you can't help but just be like, oh man, thank you.
I say that all the time. Like I'm a partial educator, but I'm also a swim instructor. So I get more joy out of swim instructing. Yeah. And, you know, it's days like, I'm not gonna lie, what random day that ends with why do I want to just go jump in a pool today, whether it's hot or cold? And I don't want to be there, man. But, you know, those kids, they are so happy to be there, and they so happy to see you and so happy to talk to you. It's like, how can I even possibly be upset right now? Like, I'm upset. You got a smile from ear to ear, and you're giggling. You got, you know, that joyful child laughter. It's like, now what am I gonna do now? Like, I'm over here melting now. Like, come on, let's just have some fun. Like, I totally get it. I totally understand, man. I totally understand. So, Jabari, what is it about education that keeps you so grounded and locked in to like, I'm an educator and I'm locked into like pushing these lives forward?
I am a byproduct of one of the greatest men in this planet. And I would tell it to the sea. I would tell it from sea to shining sea. Walter Lane at Aldine High School was my high school theater teacher. I did not have a care to go to college. I just was simply living life, just living life. And Walter Lane invested time, energy into me. He told me I should go to school, and his love of me being better inspired me to be better. And so still to this day, I work with Walter Lane. He's still the most humbled, greatest guy on the planet. This man personally drove me to Prairie View so that I can enroll. This man took me up there like 3 or 4 times, and it didn't matter what it was requested of me by him, he would do it. And because of him, I have made it my personal goal to continue to pay for it for especially the young black men, like especially so. In the educational system right now, black boys are always at the bottom of every category in terms of scores, in terms of they're at the top of disciplinary problems, they're at the bottom of all the educational problems.
Reading levels.
Within all within my school district, the black boy in the top 15% and throughout the entire school district of over 50,000 kids, there was only 2 black boys out of the nearly 500 kids in the top 15%, only 2 black boys. The district is made up of 30% black boys, 20% black boys. Now, in the category of disciplinary issues, they are at the very top. But in terms of education, it was only 2.
What does that mirror? What are those? I may be going off on a tangent here, but it's fine. We still fading it, right?
We gonna fade it forward.
Yeah, we still fading
this
it.
Is the educational component,
and we about to fade
because that's what I want to do.
What does that mirror though? Like when you say those statistics, when you say those statistics, like if we can correlate disciplinary action to the prison population.
It's the same.
Those statistics just mirror so much. It stirred my soul, like just listening to it.
Because
because I was a part of that. I was a part of that. 80% of the disciplinary part, like I personally was.
You have a son,
yes.
and every black man that have a son, we got to do additional degree of work so that we can save our future generations. And it cannot be simply the black women that's holding the boat down. It have to be a black man, and
because I'm gonna love my mama forever, but eventually I'm going to leave her.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? And I'm going to be a man, and that. You listening to what you say, I'm seeing like the pattern, right? You are the beacon, right? If there is no beacon, like there's no beacon of light, like you have nothing to search or forward to. And I think like most people in success stories have always had that, right? Like they have always had that person that they can count on and trust in, that is personally not even their family, right? Like it is a person who has taken an interest in you and interest in your potential. You know what I mean? And without that, like we don't succeed further. And I'm just listening to you. I'm so glad like you are one of those people, and I had one of those persons, you know, and like we need to continue like creating those people. And I think like the work that you do, you are single-handedly like working towards that. Like the people that you are creating will in turn, like you said, pay it forward. You know what I mean? Like you said, Walter Lee, like who he was to you is exactly what you are to so many other people. You know what I mean? And I think that changes our playing field from as black people and in our community and what we are. Like that literally, I don't want to say levels the playing field, but it gets us those 2 steps that we already are behind. You know what I mean?
We need all the added advantages we can to succeed, and a lot of times it's the matter of not having the knowledge. It's the lack of knowledge. That's why you go to education, systems of education to gain additional knowledge. When you have a greater understanding of how the world works, your possibilities increase. But the number one way you can kill anything is by killing the knowledge, the source of inspiration. And I just hope to continue to be.
And I think that's where that 80% of disciplinary action comes in.
I was one of the 2.
You got a little bit of that knowledge gone.
I know the game. I know the game, inside and out. Man. And I'm like, look here, you need to do A, B, C, and D. I'm gonna tell you why you need to do A, B, C, and D. Because if you do this is gonna happen. And we gotta provide that source of guidance for more young people to be successful. And that's how Fade to Black plays a part. See, Fade to Black is an institution that is providing greater opportunities for more up-and-coming actors. A lot of actors, they graduate college, they've worked with Fade to Black. They may not have had the opportunity to work too many main stage shows. So let's break down the theater industry. They're going to do about 6 main stage shows a year, right? Most of the traditional theaters, they gonna do a show that's predominantly Caucasian.
Yep.
So how many opportunities, if I got a degree in theater arts, do I have?
You got February and Christmas.
At the most.
I'm just saying, as a person who's working out here.
Don't even do too much in the Black History department.
And this is the catch now. It's taking the Black-centric show away from February, so it's not considered a Black History play, and you still only implement just one in the program.
In your season.
So it may be in March now or April, but it's still just that one.
When will they receive the opportunity? Fade to Black has given them a lot of opportunity, the launching pad, to be like, hey, you are talented, you can possibly make it.
I am one of those people.
And also, hey, here's 10 notable directors in the Houston area who, even in the process of working on their show, saw you. And now they know your talent. Because, and if you are even in the Fade to Black universe, everybody, even if they don't come to Fade to Black, they watch them like, oh, this person worked with Fade to Black. Fade to Black has employed close to 500 different actors in our last 10 years. There's easily no other theater company that can brag about that,
but the ensemble,
because they have a limited season that they can work with.
Only the ensemble can say they hired at least 500 Black people, because it is a predominantly black.
And then we've worked with over 30 different directors, directors of every bracket, from like very young directors to more older seasoned directors from every race and creed. That is the beauty of Fade to Black, providing that opportunity and option. And that's what the arts do. The arts provide that opportunity and option for not only people that young people, older people as well, but more so than any other group, young Black people need to have it. They need that therapy to improve who they are, so that they can improve the system that they're stuck in. Because oftentimes they do not know how to get out. It's like, what's the guidebook for how to get up out of this?
It's real. I grabbed the one balloon that was floating. That's what I did. It was one balloon floating. I was like, I'm just gonna grab it and let it float me up out of here. Because if I don't, I'm gonna just be sitting around here like everybody else.
Stuck in it, and it comes fast. You can be in the streets. You gonna find out your cousin, your brother, somebody that got caught up in the system. You just graduated. You like, man.
And being in the places that we are concentrated, like the opportunities to go the opposite way are so fast, and like you said, so easy to do the wrong thing. It's so easy, like what you say, super slide, straight on down. Like 3 seconds of this.
You already like, man, I just was sitting in my
already up house. Here. Now look where I'm at now. Like, you know, it's true, man. And I do, like, theater is such a thing for me in my soul. Like I didn't know what it was. I knew that I liked being around the people who did theater. Like, that is what I knew from high school to college. Like, I like these people, right? Like, these people are cool. I enjoy the mindset and the ideals of these people. But I didn't know, like, what it would actually do for me internally and personally. And, you know, like, when you meet people like you, like Jabari, I tell you now, like, at PV, man, like, you were one of those PV legend names that were like plastered on the wall there. Like, you got Charles, what was Charles Ware, you got David Sid, you got Jabari Collins, you got Execo Factor, Derek Stokes. I can keep naming, but like you know the history, man. And like you were definitely one of those, like, even before you had all of these multi hyphens, like, as as a teenager, like the name and the work associated with the name had already preceded itself. And like I say, the world doesn't stop turning. Like, you are still doing that today. Like, the level has increased every single time, man. And I talked to Rashonda earlier. I'm like, man, the magic that y'all are doing here, like, it should be documented. Like, it should be documented in this city of Houston, because I don't think people really understand, like, the output of what's really happening here in the middle of Acres Home. Like, you understand what I mean? It's in the middle of it.
So historically, educational wise, theater was therapy. Theater was the art form that birthed all the rest of the art forms, and here's what it did. See, when people was painting on rocks and when they were just making sounds, they lacked purpose. Theater gave it a purpose because it created a storyline, and those storylines were designed to create a catharsis, which was to enlighten people of what was not to do. So it was helping people to deal with problems and creating a moral standard within the Greek population of, like, hey, if you do this or if you don't do this, here's what will happen. So theater, that's the origins of theater, and it has had its ups and downs. Here in our community, it provides therapy for traumatized youth who don't know what to do with themselves, and it makes them sit and look within themselves. It forces you. You cannot just sit here and be like, okay, this is just what it is. Well, I'm not going to tolerate you just not knowing. You need to go dig a little deeper. And it's difficult to dig deeper. But when you go dig deeper, you discover who you really are.
Man.
And you tap into what skills you had that you never knew you had otherwise. And so historically, that's what theater has done. In our community, our program for the past 20 years have consistently produced a musical. Now, if you do research across the United States of America, that's completely unheard of in a black community. Because one, most black communities have been destroyed, and then two, most black communities lack the support from the community and knowledge of, like, keep producing musicals. There's a theater in Conroe. They've been consistently producing theaters in Conroe High School since the 1920s. There's a school, Friendswood. Friendswood have consistently produced musicals for nearly 80 years. They just celebrated their 80th year. You talking about grandmothers, great-grandmothers have been in this community producing theater. How come these communities consistently can create this art, but we can't? Because we as a community don't understand that it's more than just making the money. It's about making a better person, and that better person will make more money. That's the biggest key, because when you a better person, you can know how to work with different people. When you know how to work with different people, you develop different skills. Now you got greater opportunities and options, and now you really can go chase the bag. And that's the number one thing. So in our program, it is the community that we've built, that right now in my auditorium, I have a 40-year educator who retired 10 years ago. And this lady, Miss Pamela Dixon, comes in and work hard because the daughter of her daughter, best friend from high school, that daughter is a student here at my program. And her sister before her.
The legacy of it.
That legacy.
Yeah.
We have alumni that have consistently came back. We got 5 different alumni from various compartments working on our musical up in the front. And they come back because it's the community. And it's necessary because that is what's given.
Those are the balloons. Those are those
that's the
those
balloon.
Beacons, those people coming back.
That's what pulled them out.
Those are the people who, exactly.
That's what pulled them out. That's what pulled them out. It was those things is what gave them the view of the world that they didn't see any other way. And now they just bring it back. They bring it back. And it's hard to continue to maintain a legacy. It's hard. It's hard when you produce something and everybody like, okay, so you the first school, we the first school, this school is the first school to produce Color Purple. We the first school to produce Jelly Last Jam. We the first school to produce Memphis. We was the first school to produce Donna Summer the Musical. We was the first school to produce so many other different shows.
A world premiere happening right now?
Oh, we're the first school to produce The Bodyguard this past weekend, January. And when you do all of those things, people always say, like, how do you top it? And it's scary. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to keep on going. But hopefully the students are so motivated to come back and do it again. We just got to go back. And when you got 50 kids on their weekend spending 8 hours in rehearsal, that's more. That's more. It's because it's a family, it's a community, and when they learn that level of teamwork, when they learn that level of follow through to the end, that would make an impact on their life that no other environment would teach but this environment. And Fade to Black is the same way.
Fade to Black is
now
100%.
the same way. It is like providing a network so that various theaters can like see potential young artists, and it's giving young artists and older artists an opportunity to either school teachers as well to work with some of their former students. It's providing a database, a body of
the
actors.
Database. You know, as a professional actor, as a black actor, weirdly, I do get asked a lot, like, hey, Brandon, do you know do you know any other black actors, or is there a list? Like, we're looking for people of color for the show, and we don't know like where to go and where to look, which is amazingly funny to me. Like, either you are just not, you don't have yourself rooted in the correct communities, you know, to even have to ask that question, but to know. Fade to Black has been happening for this 10 plus years, and it happens every year, same time, same place, same type of characteristics of people that you seem to be wanting to cast for. And to know that, and then you still have to ask, like, where are these people that you're looking for? Like, it always makes me wonder, like, are you really interested in looking? You know what I mean? Because there is a platform for this. Like, there is a place for you to go and see and seek younger African-American talent. It happens all the time, every year. I'm a part of it. We're all
and a lot
part
of them
it.
burn out.
Yeah.
A lot of them, like a lot of young people, a lot of times they don't have the opportunity to truly invest in the arts because they have to work.
They got to work, or they just can't get in the show. They just can't work.
They don't have the family support for them to just go audition, go be hungry. They don't have the car, because in Houston you got to have the car. You have to have the vehicle. You got to drive. You got to commute. You got to do all of this stuff, and they may not have that opportunity right away. And then right off the bat, you're just not gonna get the bag. You're not gonna get the bag at first. You may have to do, and then we don't have community theater in black cultures. The community theater is the church. So you go do something with the church, but then it's church level work, and church level work is not professional level work. It's church level work, and that is what Fade to Black.
Lord forgive me.
You know, and as we continue to evolve, so Fade to Black, we have a season of our reading series where we bring in about 20 actors. With our performance season, we have about 30 actors. And then we introduced a new product about 2-3 years ago called The Flow. The Flow is a series of monologues. We bring in about 10 to 15 actors for The Flow. This year, we have a show that we want to produce at the start, before the voting season starts, or in the midst of the voting season. We want to produce a unique African-American story highlighting history with voting, and with voting for the black community, and why it still is ever more important to vote now than ever before,
especially now.
So those are the opportunities that we have, and I feel like there's a connection between Fade to Black and my school here at Carver High School. Fade to Black has provided mentorship and work opportunities for students from Carver High School since its inception. Trey Morgan Lewis, who's currently our one of our board members, first show 1 week after graduating high school was with Fade to
Fade
Black.
to Black, for sure. 100.
He was fresh. He was just graduated high school. His first show was with Fade to Black, and he has consistently been involved with the organization ever since. Like, Fade to Black has had a member from Carver High School working with them every single year.
And being a person who has been part of Fade to Black, they are just as professional and on the level of a professional, even though I know that they are still a high school student. They know what they're doing.
And they are able to get that professional experience from they at a very early age, opportunities that will change you for a lifetime. And I want that opportunity for more students. I want to create more educational programming in Fade to Black, so that it can build up a system where high school kids can be like, oh, I want to do this show. And I've heard people say, hey, Fade to Black, I heard if you black in Houston, you got to do at least one season in Fade to Black.
You do.
Like, you just got to have that experience one time.
Look, if you black, you could work at least once a year.
Once a year.
You might not work no other time, but at least you know when Fade to Black come around, you can kind of get a job at least. Like, you know, you like, oh, they're not doing no black shows in the season. I'm like, well, if you wait till the summer, they're gonna do 10 of them.
Do 10.
And like I always try to like stress about Fade to Black, like, the only parameters of Fade to Black is that you have to be an African American playwright. That does not mean
the only
entire show is black. Like, the characters are only black, the directors are only black. The only parameters that involves mandatory blackness is the playwright. And it is free game
for everybody else. Everybody else is all game.
It's not like Hispanics, white, Indian. It really doesn't matter. The only parameter is just African American playwright. It's free game anywhere else, because people, they hear Fade to Black and they're like, oh, that's not for me, right? Because that's how I felt growing up, like in theater. Like, you see a season, you're like, oh, that's not for me, right? But there may be there may be a part, but it's not like that at all. I cannot stress that enough about Fade to Black.
For you now, because we need writers, and that's why we stress African American playwrights. We need more writers in this world, period.
Coming from the point of view of what it is,
more writers. We just, as a society, we just need to write more. We're losing the beautiful art of writing, and more writers, period. And you know, I just know that, like, especially with our new program, our season of the Faded Forward.
Yes.
And a Faded Forward nugget of information, a point.
No, I'm glad you segued into that, because you know what it was coming.
It has to come.
It's coming now.
So
go ahead, go and give. You know what to do in that camera over there. You give whatever kind of nugget, criticism, constructive criticism, advice, anything, a word, whatever it may be. You just fade that right on forward to that camera.
Be humble in your work. You can never be too pleasant. A lot of times, a lot of people lose work is because of their attitude is wrong. You have to have the attitude of willing to work and wanting to work, and not be a problem in the work environment, because it's all chaotic. It's never going to be right. It's never going to be perfect. And you don't need to strive to be perfect, but you know the one thing you can control is your own pleasant disposition to work and be humble. And if you work with an humble spirit, you're going to always get more work, because people, they can sense when you are genuine in who you are. Like, you just come in to work and do the work, you're going to always get more work. Because there's more people that lose work opportunities because of their bad attitudes, more so than they lose work opportunities because they don't have the skill. And a lot of times, if you don't have the skill, but you have a pleasant personality, I will work with you because of your attitude before I work with somebody that's very talented with a bad attitude. Always stay humble in your work, because if you do the work for the right reason, the right outcome will come.
Amen. Jabari, you know, I hate we can't just sit here for like another 2 more hours, bro.
But also, I need to talk about Fade to Black Arts Festival 2025.
We can't get out of here without talking about that.
I can't forget about
Gotta
that.
touch on
I
that
mean,
once, right?
All right, so the goal of the Fade to Black Arts Festival of
President,
2025 is for us to bring together all the major disciplinaries of art, dance, theater, spoken word, music, bring them all together, and we're going to provide a week of Black art celebration. We want to fade the entire city of Houston to black when we bring art to not only the theaters in the Houston area, but we also want to bring it to the major art institutions in the greater Houston area. And we have brought in all of the major theater companies. We're working with the major art institutions to all fade to black and celebrate black art universally throughout the city of Houston. We're bringing it to you in the summer of 2025. Stay tuned. We are in partnership with the city of Houston and various other major art institutions in the city.
You don't have to be all of them, y'all. I mean, there's not one art-centric institution in this city of Houston that is not going to be involved in Fade to Black, and it's wonderful. I mean, from the ballet to Houston Grand Opera to the Alley Theater to the Ensemble Theater, Rec Room, Fourth Wall. It is going to be a Houston explosion, and I truly just cannot wait. I'm excited. I don't know where I'm gonna fall in, but I know I'm gonna be somewhere. I'm gonna be somewhere. Most like talking to people, talking to people,
bringing them in. Like this is a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, film is one of the next components that Fade to Black really would like to do. Like, I really would like for the next few years that we could convert our 10-minute plays into short films, and then start like building upon not only the stage performances but also in the film industry as well. We don't have the name for it yet, but stay tuned. Stay tuned for the happenings of Fade to Black.
Well, thank you again, Jabari. Thank you again. Once again, y'all, this is the Fade, All Things Fade to Black 2025. I am your host, Brandon Morgan, and this is the Mr. Everything, Jabari Collins. Thank you again, bro. Thank you.
No
Thank you very
problem,
much.
bro.
Once again, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Fade to Black out. Corey, we done? Always.